I've created a GitLab account for myself, okay? And every exercise, instead of you go and build the files on your own, you just get the files streamed down to your Eclipse from the GitLab. So you just take this link, you go to import from Git, you put this link, click enter, you get the project. You get all the starter files in which you don't need to start creating a new project and add these classes, etc. You just get them, they are in your system. Okay, I'll ask you later not to upload the solution because you can do that. And try to prevent that as well. Okay. That is going fine. That is all about the following 12 weeks. Any question until now in your mind? For today, for tomorrow in the lab, do not disappear, okay? Because the trend, because you've got an assignment due at the end of the term, I've got some exercises. Turn up, okay? And I'll try to be as smooth and flexible as much as I can to allow you to work in your assignment as well. So I'll just introduce these exercises. I'll show you how to do the first one easily within the first 15 minutes. Then I won't interrupt you a lot, but turn up. Do not start losing labs because you are so busy with your assignment. Turn up and work on your assignment, okay? But I'm already being told, and I just watched it in the movie, and that's the video, that he told you that is not a revision lab. It is a lab where there is tasks on. Okay. For the first 3 weeks, we will look at design patterns. We will look at review object-oriented design with design patterns too. We will talk about more design patterns, first 3 weeks. I'll talk about what is design patterns and why it is important. This unit is called enterprise programming. I am aware some other units already touched slightly on design patterns, but it's the emphasis here is very important in a third year unit, okay, and in the master's degree, etc. Because the idea now, you are going to graduate by the end of this year and go into a software development role. This is my best preference, because to be true with you, software development is a rewarding career. It's got well paid. My brother, myself, I supervise him to be a software developer. He's an architect earning 130K in the States, okay? So it's really an architect after you go junior software developer, senior software developer, and then you go into architect roles, which talking about putting things together here. Design patterns is all their work, putting things together, integration, etc. So design patterns are very important because the idea, when you are a junior software developer, you tend to develop your software yourself. And you tend to bring that piece of software live and you demo it in front of everyone. It works great. But then somebody said, oh, did you just reinvented the wheel? This is being done. And there is already lots of performance issues being highlighted in this area. Have you looked at this issue and this issue and this issue? Oh, I'm going to improve it. And then he said, why? It's already been shared. You just go and reuse it. Okay. So what's that? And then he would say, oh, it's already being published as a design pattern. Oh, what is design pattern? So the design pattern is if there is a generic problem, okay, a problem that might occur again and again, okay, we'll talk about one of them in a minute, and there is a well-designed solution already being created by one developer, okay, and then the community represented by earlier on before Oracle, Sun Microsystem, okay, that's a good design, that's a good solution to that well-known problem. Oh, let's add it to our JDK. Or let's make it Spring Hibernate. Spring framework, Hibernate framework. These are already well-known problems, and those people came in, designed the solution, the best solution they can come up with, and then they shared it with the rest of the community. So therefore, reinventing it is a major mistake. So this is where we're going to go. Therefore, understanding these design patterns are a good idea. Why? For many reasons. In the 70s, a guy working in architecture called Christopher Alexander, scientist in architecture, not computer scientist, he said design pattern is the timeless way of building buildings, putting designs for buildings. he defined a hierarchical collection of designs, design patterns he called them, for designing future buildings. What does that mean? I'm talking to myself. So why he's talking about the timeless way of building? Why do you think he was talking like that? Timeless way of building, fast to build things from patterns.
Because they've been tested, builded, and
yeah. So what are these patterns? Reusable ideas, let's call them. I say, oh, that looks like a good idea, the best idea I can come up with for a teaching room. So he drew that teaching room, he put all the components in, that's this design. Others, they could look at, okay, that is a good design. And Oliver will come and say, oh, that's also a good design. Michael will come and say, oh, there's one thing missing. Look what he is doing. But there is already another system which got the camera just at the bottom of that projector. Its camera is continuously streaming and streaming in real time as well. Okay, I've attended courses with Learning Tree myself in London, middle of London, next to Euston Station, and that is just hanged under the CCTV, under that projector, and even the microphones hang just at the top of your heads, and it's streamed to the rest of the world. Okay, that's a better design pattern. We can reuse it here in the future. So in building, he designed some architectures which he was very happy from, and he reused many others, and he put them there in his library. When he wanted to build a new building, he's just putting old ones together, and that is another building. That's a lot easier. So the whole idea then he introduced is the reusability, the software reusability. Okay, not the reusability of anything, but reusability of good design. So informal, a pattern is describing a problem that occurs again and again and again and again, and describe the solution as well, not just the problem, with the solution. Okay, in such a way that that solution could be used again and again and again. The whole idea of the problem and the solution, it's an expert, let's say, it's an expert solution. It's the best solution, let's say, up to that moment, okay? So the whole idea, why do we need design patterns for us here? For our small community, our 60 students doing enterprise programming. What we want, not just design patterns, distributed programming, Hibernate and Spring, and as much as we can add GitHub, GitLab, etc., and other advanced programming, is to say we've got graduates. They are not just junior developer, you can take them and train them. They behave like experts. Okay, you behave like experts. And the proof that you've used expert solutions, okay? What is design patterns? Is simply to help novices learn by example to behave like experts. So, if I say I've got this design pattern and you've reused it already, you've done an expert solution because that design pattern was developed by an expert. So you are more or less rendering an expert developer. Does that make sense? Good. I can see heads moving up and down. Okay, I worked, as I said, on video analysis of people before as software developer, and moving up and down was a sense of agreement. If it was right and left, no. If it's turning the eye down, he's hiding something. Okay? That's a bit more fun. Then a group of people in the computer science came in. They called themselves the Gang of Four. Okay? Eric, Richard, Ron, Phil, John. And they wrote this nice new book, Design Pattern Elements of Reusability, of Reusable Object-Oriented Software. So that is your book for the next few months. I would suggest it. You can Google it. Okay. I'll talk more. Developing software, I mean real software, not just 10 lines of code, okay, is hard if it's extremely complex system. If we are trying, for example, to render one of my projects in the past, I worked to bought a university portal like my MMU.ac.uk, which involved the finance, the marketing, the student's record, your marks. You can just open my MMU, that portal, and you can see your marks for year 1 and marks for year 2 and marks for year 3. You can submit assignments and see your marks, like the Moodle. And here they're trying to pick one chunk from there, one chunk from there. But that system was fully functional, fully developed for that specific university. Okay? And that is a complex system. Okay? How do they fit all together? But then the biggest problem is, the biggest challenge then, is developing reusable software is harder. Okay, that's a good idea. Because your managers later on at that software development company, they will say, when you develop that package, can you please make sure it is as generic as possible to solve the problem and at the same time could be reused. Okay. So therefore, it is a bit harder. You will need more time to develop it. And research saying developing reusable software is 3 times it takes as long as developing just a piece of software. Okay, so it takes longer. Okay. But the guidance now, why we are trying to do patterns, design patterns. If I'm developing a reusable software, if there is any design patterns I could reuse in my software, that is something I've just ticked out this 3 times out. Because it's already been reused, it's already been tested, it's already been documented, and I'm reusing it. Great. It is reusable and proved to be reusable and proved to be